Okay, welcoming all of you to this one of a kind webinar called Married Sex. And to be very honest, I can create modules and modules on this topic, and it cannot be covered in one webinar. But I still decided to start somewhere and to do something around it. Okay, so let's see what shows up today and what all we can cover today. And please open your bodies to the wisdom of your own sexuality, your own sensuality, and your own power to celebrate this aspect of your life. Okay, so we are going to begin with a very small meditation, not like a meditation exactly, but a very small thing that I wanted to do. Now for this, I would request all of you to come on video. It will be for 30 seconds and then you can maybe go back again if you don't want to be on video. But just for this, because like, let's connect with each other through this small meditation. And then you can probably, if you are not in a space where you can turn your video on, you can go back. So can you, Nupur and Shruti, can you both come on video for this? Yeah, okay. So okay, so how are we going to do this? Just open your hands like this, okay? Just open your hands like this. Okay. Are we good? So putting your legs on the ground and closing your eyes and opening your arms wide open. Okay. So Suniti, we are just sitting, closing our eyes and opening our arms wide open. Okay. And we close our eyes and we breathe down to our bellies, okay? And you can open your eyes and let's look at each other. Okay. Let's look at each other and just like move our hands up once and then down. Okay. And become aware of this energy around you. Okay. Just up and down. And you bring your hands inside. Okay. Now you bring your hands inside and you put it here on your chest. And you bow down inside of you to your own self. And you mentally tell yourself that I bow to the multifold power inside of me. Feel yourself honoring your own power inside of you, inside of your body. I bow down to the multifold power inside of me and I honor my body. Okay. And you slowly relax your hands and you breathe into the safety of this circle. And let's dive into it deeper. Okay. All right. So I was just saying, Suniti joined a little later. I was just saying that I can create modules and modules on this topic, but I wanted to start somewhere. and I wanted to see what shows up and what all we can do today. So let's see. Okay. The first thing that came to me when I was, thank you, Shruti, thank you so much. So the first thing that came to me when I decided this, even today when I woke up in the morning, I could realize the whole shame around it, the shame around the topic itself. Forget about diving deeper into the experience and personal knowledge and whatever we go through. But the whole shame around it doesn't allow us to embrace the specific desires, embrace the pleasures that we are here for, that we feel that we deserve. Okay. So the first thing that I would request all of you is to just drop that shame inside of you, drop that judgment inside of you, and be willing to be seen in the next few minutes till we are connected. At least for this time, we can drop it completely. Okay. So just drop it completely and just try to look at it as an aspect of life, just as we look at any other aspect of life. Okay. Just as neutral as any other aspect of life. And when we talk about married sex, we cannot take away the aspect of married relationship from it, because it comes out as a result of a relationship, right? So first I will talk, like I will just give one point of view around a relationship, which all of us, I believe that all of us need to have. What is that point of view? It's a very simple point of view. It is that every relationship is unique. Okay. Every person is unique and every relationship is unique, which means every married sex, every sexual relationship will be unique. There is no comparison. Even though there are certain ground fundamental truths about relationship, for example, me honoring you and you honoring me. Okay. However, how am I honoring you and how you are honoring me is a very unique stance, which comes from a lot of factors that two people come with. So, all of your life, whenever you have compared your sexual life with anybody else's, when you have minimized yourself or maybe taken pride in your relationship because you are comparing it with anyone else, let all of that go for now. So the point of view that I want to begin with is that every relationship is unique and every sexual relationship is unique. So am I okay with that? Can I be okay with that? That my sexual desires can be unique, my lens towards my sex life can be unique, my desires can be unique, my wants can be unique, and it doesn't have to match with anyone else. Am I okay with that? Okay. How does it feel to just breathe into it? Just observe, okay? Just observe when I allow myself to be absolutely okay with my unique sex life, my unique married life. Okay. Just be with that energy and feel the space it gives you, inside of your nervous system, inside of your body. When I don't even have to compare, when I'm okay with the uniqueness of it. Okay. The moment we do that, it becomes about what I want, what I would like to experience, what is it currently that I'm not exactly okay with, And how can I get in touch with my body? How can I communicate it to my partner? All of that is like a consequence. But the first step is actually allowing myself to be curious about my wants. What is it that my body actually wants? What is it that will give me that sense of pleasure that I want to receive? How many of you, okay, you can write in the chat box in yes or no. How many of you believe that sex is an act of receiving? Yes or no? And how many of you, actually not yes or no, how many of you feel it is an act of receiving, and how many of you believe it's an act of giving? Giving or receiving? And you cannot write both. Most of the times, you have to think like most of the times, what is it about for me? Yeah, I knew somebody will write both. You can't write both. You got to reflect, take a moment, okay, I got it, mostly giving. So write whatever it is for you, okay? More of giving, for somebody's receiving, more of giving, mostly giving. That is not the question. Please, whether it is about giving or receiving, that's the question. Mostly, what is it about? Even if it is for your pleasure, is it about mostly about receiving pleasure or about giving pleasure? Okay, so break it down into, okay, receiving, okay, right, 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 yeah, yeah. So people who wrote, like, I think I got 50-50 responses. No, actually it's more, okay, got it. So some people mentioned mostly it's about receiving. Some people mentioned mostly it's about giving. Okay. And one of you also mentioned that I want it to be of receiving, otherwise it feels like a task, you know. So people who wrote receiving, I have a question. Okay. And then I will come to the ones who have written giving. People who have written receiving, are you able to receive without feeling guilty of not giving enough? Are you comfortable with receiving? Is there any discomfort attached with the receiving, or are you fully into your reception and then probably after the experience you can savor it and live it and there is no ifs and buts about it? Okay, so what, in one word, people who are writing no, in one word, share what is it about this receiving that is not comfortable, that you don't like? One word. And ask your body, okay? Don't use your head. Just ask your body, like, what happens after receiving? What feeling comes up after receiving? Some of One of you wrote, okay, I'll be silent. Think. Okay, what does that mean? If you can come off mic and share permanency, what do you, yeah,
So what I mean is what I felt in my body is that this receiving is not permanent. So in that moment I am able to receive, but
right,
then will I be able to do it like as frequently as I want, as consistently as I want, or
okay.
is it, yeah, or with the same person as I want? But in that moment, I am receiving, like, fully.
So the temporary aspect, like,
Yes.
okay, okay. So will it stay, is what you are questioning?
So will it stay? I'm not sure if that's what I'm saying. What I mean is that so today, if I'm receiving today,
Right,
right, in that moment, I am fully receiving.
right,
Whatever I'm doing for myself.
right.
But then, will tomorrow will I have a partner to receive, right? Like, that's what I mean.
Okay, okay. Got it, got it. Understanding. And if you can just come up with the emotion in that moment, okay, in one word, you can type it in the chat box. Like, when I'm thinking whether I'm going to get it tomorrow, how am I feeling during that moment? If there is an emotion that comes up, a sensation that comes up, do mention in the chat box. Okay. Someone says disgust and pain, which is after receiving, is what you're talking, right? Okay, it's empty. Okay. After receiving while asking. So asking is also a form of being open to receiving. When I'm asking, I'm actually being open to receive. And what you are saying is that it comes with this added disgust and pain, right? For someone, the receiving comes with the following, like, the emptiness that follows. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So okay, this is someone who wrote giving. Okay. So the people who wrote giving, okay, one of you mentioned that it feels like a task sometimes. And one of you mentioned that when you know the other person is not interested in giving it to you, but only focused on taking. Okay. So before going into the reasons, before going into the after effect, when I asked, what is it for you? Okay. When I only asked, what is it for you? You could only think of, okay, how is it for me? Am I mostly concerned with giving? Am I mostly concerned with receiving? Okay. And then it comes with the added layers of point of views and opinions that we have around it. Okay. So let me just slow this down. Okay. What happens? Okay. We'll come to this again. Okay. Your answers, will come back to this. Now I want to dive deeper into what does it mean to have a relationship, and what does it mean to have a sexual relationship with somebody. Okay, how does it even start happening? What is the incision, and what is my mindset around it? What is my body living in those moments? For generations and generations, okay, sex has been categorized in a certain way in the heads of men as well as women, in the bodies of men as well as women. Okay. And what we live in our own lives, in our own bedrooms, is not away from it. It's not separate from it. We live the impact of it. Just because we don't come from that generation does not mean that we are separate from the impact it has already levied on our bodies and minds. So when you start experiencing sex in life, tell me how many of you went for a school where you were taught about how to explore your body, how to have your own conscious idea of sex, how to know what your body wants. No, right? So it started as an activity in a very autopilot mode in life. Yes, I'm feeling pleasure, but I'm also feeling so many other things. Why is that happening? The only desire is to feel pleasure, right? Is to feel this intimacy with this person. And that is the only attempt, right? I want to feel this intimacy. However, it comes along with so many added emotions and sensations. Where is that coming from? Since we don't know where is it coming from, we end up just projecting it on our partners. Okay, it's a way. It's like what can we do? There is, since we are having sex with some person and there is nobody else in that dynamic, probably we will end up feeling it's their problem or end up feeling it's my problem. That's the whole thing. That is where it narrows down and we are not able to go deeper. Okay, so we must realize that a sexual experience is actually coming with a lot of generational wisdom, a lot of generational trauma, a lot of things that we have in the body and mind, and it just gets unleashed in the bedroom. You know, it's like there are stagnant patterns. If you go back, I'm just giving one example, by the way, there are many examples, okay? If you go back and you look at your own lineage, you will see probably how earlier people used to have a lot of children, right? There was a trend of having a lot of children, and that started slowing down over generations, right? Have you seen how there are stagnant patterns of sexual wisdom, of sexual, not wisdom, I would say, of sexual methods, okay, that has been just given from generation to generation to generation, and we simply start living it the moment it opens up in our life. There is a particular autopilot that starts running your life until you stop and ask yourself, what is it that I want in my life? How do I want to experience sex? Do I want to be in this autopilot mode? How many of you experience sex as a very um, mm, and I want this answer in a yes or no, okay? I'm not going deeper. So how many of you experience it in a certain way? Instead of, say, experimenting and trying new methods, how many of you experience it probably 80% of the time in the same way? Like there are 2, 3 ways in which you just keep experiencing it. Right. Okay. So I have 3 yes, and I have 2 more people. Yes. Okay. Who has not answered? Anyone not answered? Okay, it's okay, even if you haven't answered. So most of you are saying yes or me, which means that I'm simply following a stagnant pattern and I don't know how to come out of it. I don't even know whether I can sit back and question and inquire and become curious and do something about it. Like for me, let me tell you, I consciously decided to inquire and think about what's happening in my sex life, when I realized that it's just becoming an autopilot and we don't even talk about it. Why are we not talking? You know? And used to just alarm me, especially after coming into the field of intergenerational work and doing a lot of therapeutic work on myself. I started realizing that we talk about so many things in life, but we are so resistant in talking about sex, even though it is a significant part of your relationship, even though it is a significant part of your life. Like for me, I'm just now, this can be, I'm not saying a general thing now, I'm just saying something that I realized. I realized that if I'm sleeping with somebody in a single bedroom, okay, in the same bedroom, and if I have changed my life so dynamically, where now we share the same bed, how can my sex life not be a priority for me? How can everything else be a priority but not my sex life? That is something that I personally have gone through in my own journey. And I started inquiring and I started becoming curious about this whole thing, where I can understand what changes do I want and how do I communicate it out. How do I make space for it without blaming or putting fingers on my partner, because he also comes from a particular lineage, just like I do. So if I am resistant in asking, for example, and if I feel and assume that my partner should just get it, that is not how it works, right? So I need to look at where I come from and I need to be curious, not just for me, but also for my partner. If there is this need, okay, somebody said that, for my partner, it's about taking and not giving. And for me, it's about giving. So we have these rigid, strong point of views where I feel that I'm the right one and my partner is the wrong one, maybe. And when we feel the need to be right, the relationship is not between two people. The relationship is between me and me being right. It is not about the other. If we operate as a team, in my head, okay, in my head, that is the only place where I can go deeper and become curious. If I already conclude that, okay, this is how men are, this is how they do, what can I do in this, probably this is how things will be fine between us. Some people go for sex only to avoid conflict. Some people go for sex because they don't want their partners to cheat on them. However, what is the reason behind me wanting to have sex? This is one inquiry that I want to give all of you. This is a question that I want you all to please sit on it. Just sit on it and ponder about it. Why do I want to experience sex in life? What does it give me? Does it give me pleasure? Does it give me a sense of openness? Does it give me a sense of nakedness, which is like being so raw? And it gives a certain sense of confidence to somebody. It gives a certain sense of intimacy to somebody. What is it that it gives you, and what is it that you want from it? If I am having sex to avoid conflict, for example, this is an example, I will end up having a conflict. Okay. Let me just read the chat box. Okay, so someone has written a direct message, so I'm not reading it aloud. So just give me a bit. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Somebody wrote, pleasure and connection, my nervous system relaxes. So when you are aware of it, okay, connection, feeling like I have my partner with me, right? Right. So when okay, so am I aware of this reason when I am going forward in this experience? Okay, I'm going to be a little slow here. What happens is something that I've observed, not just with me, with many women, is that we know that I want this for connection. I do this because I feel pleasure. I do this because, I relax. But the moment it starts happening, the autopilot again kicks in and I forget about my relaxation. I forget about my pleasure and something else starts kicking in. So how do I handle it? How do I navigate it? Please allow yourself to reflect on your experiences. For example, if I had a sexual experience last night, can I today give 15 minutes of time to reflect on it and ask myself, what is it that did not work for me? What is it that actually worked for me? And am I okay to talk about it with my partner? Can I allow myself 10 minutes of reflection time because this is something which is important for my body? My body, if my body is getting naked, it is important for me to look at it, to understand how my body feels, right? So, is it okay for me to give 10 minutes of reflection time and become curious about myself? This reflection is not to point fingers. Please understand. This reflection is to become closer to your body and to become curious about what happens. There was this moment once I was reflecting, and there was this moment when I realized that my body, like during a certain move, my body started shutting down. Okay. Like someone wrote personally to me in a message how sometimes it just shuts down and there is then only one or two things that they rely on. Okay. So instead of going to those one or two things, okay, you can go to those one or two things. But after the experience is over, can I ask myself, what was that moment when I was shutting down? And what would I want in that moment for my partner to give me space for? Let me give a very small example, okay? In my case, for example, like I realized there was this pattern going on for years and years actually. And then I realized that it was just one moment where my partner feels to go forward in a certain way and I want it to be in a certain way. The moment I realized it, I asked my partner, is it okay for you to not do this way and maybe try this other way? Is it okay for you to try that? And that actually felt good to my partner. It was not about blaming him. It was not about telling him that, you always do this. Why can't you understand? This is hurting me. So we don't have to, by default, assume that my partner will get me. I have to get me first. When I get myself and my body, I can communicate to my partner, and that will be it. It can be simple. Like, I was this person, and I'm being very honest and probably naked right now when I'm saying this, that I was this person and I'm saying this in Hindi. All of you are okay with this, with Hindi, right? So I was this person, like I was so shy about talking about sex. I can't even imagine I'm doing this webinar. Okay. One part of me is like, Kaun hai ye? Who is this girl? So, there was this time when I used to be so shy that for example, if my partner's hand is on my hair and if my hair is getting pulled, I will not say. I will just not say. I will go with it. And I used to ask myself later, why would I do that to myself? Why would I not say? And why would I assume that my partner should know this and he should understand this, and as if he's doing it deliberately, you know? But he's not doing it deliberately. He doesn't even realize it's happening. And I'm not telling it to him, which means this pattern is going to continue. I can keep believing that he is doing it out of whatever, and he can keep, he can be in the delusion because I did not tell him. So after a few months, more actually years, I would say, I realized that this is what I am doing to myself. This is not my partner's fault. He doesn't know that I'm getting hurt, and I need to be honest and compassionate about his situation as well. I cannot assume that, he should, if I come from a certain background, he also comes from a certain background. He did not have any education because of whatever, we did not learn this in any school, right? So we are learning together as we go. So please understand, you both are a team and you cannot assume things about your partner. If you know something is not working for you, you need to find a way to say it without making it as a fault of your partner. These assumptions like men are like this, he's like this, उसको ये पता होना चाहिए, मैं कितना बोलूं. Either we go into the victim zone, okay, and we feel as if we are being wronged, or we go into the opposite zone where we are like, I know everything. He doesn't know anything, I know everything. Why do I have to teach him everything? मैं क्यों सिखाऊं? उसको खुद आना चाहिए, he should learn it all by himself. Why should I teach him? So it's not about him, it's about you, and it's about what works for you and how to communicate it to your partner. This is how we can move forward, okay, instead of going back into the same stagnant patterns. So is it okay, and please write in a yes or no, is it okay for all of you to give yourself reflection time of 10 minutes on a daily basis on what is working for you, what happened in the previous experience, what is it that you don't want, and maybe talk about it without putting it as a fault of your partner. Please understand, he or she is also coming from a way of managing it, not managing it, a way of experiencing it. Okay. If you express and your partner is like, how dare you tell me how you feel, then it's a different problem. Then it's a different problem. Okay. But if you start blaming and if you start experiencing a pushback, that's normal actually. Why will I blame, Okay. Yes. I got 3 yes. What about others? Okay. Is it fine for you, Sneha, now? Or is it pausing? Pausing. Okay. But is it fine for others? Okay. Okay. Neha, maybe you can join again or see if something works for you. Or maybe turn off your video if your bandwidth is getting, scattered. Okay, change your network. Let's see. Okay. So I got 4 yes. Who is not willing to reflect? Wait. So I got from 1, 2, 3. Sneha, is it on you only who is not saying yes? Forget video, answer the question. Please, like this is something that I really wanted to give today in the webinar, that please reflect. I have reflected and not willing to do. Okay. Thank you for sharing it. Okay. Why are we not willing to reflect? Is when we don't want to tap into our own sexual wisdom. So when I'm saying reflect, okay, it is not about anybody else. It is about me understanding my own body. What if, even if there is a different issue with my partner, okay, even if I don't want to communicate with my partner, why am I reflecting? Is because it is my body that will talk back to me. My sexual wisdom will want me to know about what I like, what I don't like, what is good for me, what is not good for me. Sometimes when I'm reflecting and I'm tapping into my own sexual energy, I actually start transforming and I get more ideas. Sometimes I get ideas about what kind of work I would like to do, what kind of workshop I can do, and the sexual energy is becoming expanded and it transforms into something, Sneha, you know. It's not only about the act of sex, it is about me embracing my own sexual energy. So when I allow myself to reflect without an agenda, the agenda is only connecting to my body. The agenda is not about, you know, necessarily communicating it to my partner and improving the act of sex with my partner. It's not just that. That is one aspect of it. Okay. And let's do a very small thing around it, okay, to make it more clear.
Can I ask a question now?
Yeah. Go
So
ahead.
when you say that, reflect. So I have reflected many times, and many times I have communicated it to my partner, not as a pointing finger, but just expressing myself. But in such cases as well, the answer is something which, takes me back.
Yeah.
So in these cases, how do I navigate again to the self-reflection point without any agenda?
So when I'm communicating, okay, I'm just communicating about my needs, right? And that can be accepted or rejected. Now, if it is accepted, probably it will be two people working together in this. But when it is rejected, then it is me who needs to channel that energy in a different way. And I need to see what I can do with it. And whether whether I want to be with this partner or whether this partner is the one with whom I want to spend my life, it's a different question altogether. But when we talk about married sex and sexual energy, and when I'm talking about reflection, this reflection is about tuning into your body and tapping into your sexual wisdom. Okay. I can communicate or I cannot communicate, but can I become aware of my own needs at least? Can I become aware of my own energy? And I can listen to the wisdom inside of me. Like once I was doing this reflection, I was tuning into my body and I started getting these imprints of my mom's, how would have been my mom's sex life and how would have been my nanny's sex life. And before that particular tuning in, I never thought about it. And I never thought about how that is impacting my body and my own perception about sex. So then I started thinking and I was like, okay, so what I feel and what I perceive is not just my own perception. It is coming from perception of so many women who came before me. And now if I have to break through this and I have to tap into my own sexuality and freedom, How do I do it? How do I allow my body to open itself? And that is not necessarily going to happen with a sexual act with somebody, not necessary at all. Sometimes you have to go through your own journey to be able to connect with somebody and receive. To be very honest, a retraction from outside, I take it as an indirect signal of me not being ready to receive. Okay. Even though my intent was to just communicate and probably connect, but somewhere I don't know what is blocking me. Okay. So please allow yourself to love yourself first, and be so curious about your own body. Like, how many of you, I'm going to give another exercise, okay? I've given 2, 3 exercises, and when you go back to the recording, probably up, just note down those 2, 3 things. Like, one is the reflection, one is opening my body to receive, one is the initial meditation where I bow down to my own power. We bow down to so many things, but we forget about our own wisdom and power. So doing that is also a way of honoring my body and not allowing my body to diminish itself no matter what. Okay. I was going to, another activity that I want to give you is, how many of you allow yourself to be naked in front of a mirror? Have you done that once, twice, many times? Okay. Oh, I love this. Okay. And okay. What is it that I'm looking at? Okay. How can I develop a lens when I look at myself in the mirror, when I get naked? I'm so happy to see all of you saying yes, by the way. And for all of the women who are going to watch this, who are going to say no, probably, maybe this is a new thing for you. Please do it. Please do it. And observe the emotions that come up. Don't try to intellectualize the experience. Okay, I'm going to talk about that for 2 minutes, and that's how I'm going to end this. Okay, while I get ready, I start being pregnancy, love about me. I have body image issues. Now it's pampering and love and getting ready. I love it. Love it. So one is about consciously doing this, like you said. Okay, Suniti. However, take few moments to observe what is naturally coming up. Okay, that will give you a sense of your body positive affirmations. So I'm actually going to deviate from there a little. Yeah, now it's just embracing. Yes, yes. So there's a lot of positivity that I see here, and I'm going to deviate a little. Okay, before the positivity, before the affirmations, before the loving, I need to see the autopilot lens that I have. So when you look into the mirror, allow yourself to see all the things that you judge your body for. Take 30 seconds to do that. Okay, I judge this. I judge the weight. I judge the color. I judge this, the size. God knows, whatever projections you have had of your body since childhood, allow that to come up for a bit. Because once you know, okay, that your body, once you are aware of what is it that I am not, what is it that I'm insecure about, then comes the positivity. If we straight away go into positivity, knowing that कि हाँ मतलब पता ही है insecure है, पता ही है बचपन से ही है, But that doesn't allow us to go through the complete experience of embracing our bodies. So be willing. This is like a little challenging. And I would have not given this if you wouldn't have said yes, by the way. अगर आप लोग no बोलते, then I would have probably said कि go for it and then do the positive affirmations. But if you're already doing it, believe me, combine it with your own insecurity first, let that come up. Like, sometimes I actually turn around and I see myself and I see what are the things that I judge myself for. Like, I look at my feet and I see, like, I have judged my feet a lot, okay, for example. And I look at my feet and I remember the times of, like, the number of times I've judged my feet, okay? And I tell my feet that, oh God, I have judged you so much. Like, insanely, like, it doesn't even make sense. I don't know why I did it, but I've done it. So acknowledging what all you have judged your body for, that is the first step. And then you say something as simple as, I love you and I'm sorry and you are enough for me. And you will have the narrative also, like how you have judged it. Like, what is the sentence, how you judge your body. Like, for example, I was born with a very dark skin. And then there was this whole thing, वो जो बोलते हैं ना उपटन लगाना, स्किन को वो करना जिससे कि रंग साफ होगा, these sentences. So I have gone through a lot of those things in childhood. So what happened, there was a time when, say, a part of my body is very light colored, and then there is a part of my body in my back somewhere which is a little dark colored. And then I will turn in the mirror and I will look at my back and I will be like, oh God, I have judged this so much. Like, in every time I would wear a dress, I would be like, Are ye dikhega, are ye hoga, and this will happen, that will happen, God knows what will happen, okay? So become aware of your judgments and projections instead of going straight away to the positive affirmations. Does that make sense? Like, does that feel right to any of you? Yeah? Okay. Okay. Even though I'm fair skinned, it was about preserving it. Yeah, I get it. I would be stressed is my skin getting bad. Quite relatable. Yeah. Yeah. It's like if you go on a beach, it will be like tan ho jayega, for example. And those are the moments when you got to become aware and you need to tell your body, you belong. I love when you get tan and I love when you are fair and I love everything about you. But before that, I need to know what I judge myself for. Khali, like I have seen this in my journey at least, without knowing my insecurities to the T, if I'm doing positive affirmations, it's like half-hearted. It's not working exactly. Like sometimes I observe how I judge my teeth, okay? It's like I had this tongue thrusting issue since childhood. मैंने braces भी लगाए थे, and sometimes when I smile, I actually reduce my smile. I don't smile bigger even if I want to, because of this, somewhere this judgment that my teeth will not look good. And Shruti is doing that smile. I don't know what she's doing. Okay. So yeah, become aware of the judgments of your body. And sometimes when we are into, why am I mentioning this so much in the married sex webinar, is because when I am getting naked and I am being witnessed by somebody, all of my insecurities are going to shoot up, knowingly, unknowingly. And the way to deal with it is actually knowing it and breathing into my enoughness way before the act happens. Okay. So please do these few things. Okay. And also like allow yourself to, like, I'm going to write some teacher's name. Like there is this woman, Ma Anand Sarita, on Instagram. Okay. There is this page called Evolve Beings. I think some of you know about this. Then especially like, you know, when I see Ma Anand Sarita talking about sensuality and body and pleasure, it's like I feel like I haven't known this at all in life, you know, like how to perceive my own body and just dive into my sensuality and embrace it. So it starts with you, okay? The other comes much later, specifically sharing this from the struggle that you go through, Sneha. Forget about the communication and attraction. Focus on you loving your body so much. Like I am reflecting only for me, by the way, let me tell you. अब communicate करे या नहीं करे वो मैं बाद में सोचती हूँ. ठीक है, but the agenda is not communication. The agenda is me knowing what my body is, you know, जो कि कभी किया ही नहीं मैंने. Right? Yeah, I was smiling, looking at myself. I do this all the time on a video call. Okay. However, you were doing it during the smile example. So I was like, what are you doing? Okay. So, yeah, this is where I would like to end today's webinar. Okay. And maybe we will do this again, you know, on this topic itself, because I have a lot of things. Like I wrote so much, I have shared, I have wrote, like I couldn't share all of the things actually. Okay, so let's see, we will do this again. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in. Can you share one takeaway before you leave? Any one takeaway which like stood out for you today, whatever it is. Yes, go Suniti.
I think the one takeaway was that I don't have to do the reflection just for the intimacy aspect, you know. It's also about how have I manifested the situation? Where is it coming from for me? And what does it lead to more? Like when I was saying that I'm for me, it's more giving, not in so much in receiving, and I would want to be in receiving. It can help me reflect in terms of receiving overall also. So I really feel that, I mean, I know this, but to talk about it in this way really helped me get that insight. Thank you.
Lovely. Yes, it is about receiving and it starts with you. You don't have to wait for your partner to realize or not realize something. Believe me, your sexuality and your embracing starts with you. Lovely. Thank you, Suniti. Yes. Next.
For me, it was, you know, realizing to another layer that it's not about my partner.
Yeah.
It's not about the act itself. It's about me and my feelings underlying.
Yeah.
It's more about, you know, reflecting on my inner being once again through a different lens.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was giving that hair example, okay, it's not just about my partner. That happens like as a consequence. But when I was giving that hair example, when I was reflecting, I actually paused in that moment of reflection. Jab I was getting hurt, and I asked my body, like, what happened? And why couldn't you say? Why did you suffer? And I was being very compassionate with myself when I was doing this questioning. And it was then me and my body, it was not me and my partner. So when we reflect, if it is always about me and my partner, we actually miss the most crucial aspect of me and my body. So the reflection goes like this, okay? Me and my partner, going deeper into me and my body and establishing connection, me and my body, and then coming up maybe to my partner if I feel like. Okay, so when you are reflecting, go to that aspect, you and your body. That is the primary relationship. That is where, when we talk about embracing intimacy, it is about your intimacy with your body. Does that make sense? So go there, वो जाना होगा. खुद को, like, you have to tell yourself that I want to go there. The autopilot, the stagnant patterns from generations will not allow that. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sneha. Yes.
So there is one point that you mentioned, that how, you know, the women in the family line would have experienced sex, and how that would possibly has and is impacting me and my sex life, or maybe how I associate myself with the entire act. So that is something that I feel I I need to reflect on.
Yeah. Lovely. That gives us another way of looking at it in a wider way. So have a wider angle, guys. Okay. Have
Yeah.
a wider, even though you're all girls, I'm saying, I don't know why I do this, by the way. This comes very naturally for me. But please allow yourself. Okay. So I'm ending on this note. Thank you for sharing your takeaways. Develop a wider angle towards the whole process and break through the narrow lens of looking at it. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.